I forgot. Did we ever talk about with regard to healthcare this phenomenon that's now a part? It's entering into political things. But when this issue of like I think we did one of the things taking place, the healthcare thing, the way you know young I don't know young people who are the way in which they're like maybe they took politics in high school or something. It shouldn't a young person who's like perceiving them politically awake, but within like the liberal university system, which is like that's imposed ignorance. But wait, one of the things is we used to joke around about those articles like in the in certain newspapers like telling the older generations something about like people who want to understand their young people like what I understand the what's going on like they know like they want to read about what's going on with the younger generation, the parents do right, and they do the sort of media system is like a really I mean, whether it's intentional or not, it's like it acts as a really demented form of propaganda by propagandizing that like baby boom generation about what reality is with regard to understanding their young people. So like with it's happening with like the healthcare thing, like just like this will be this right like the commentators and people who are what are called intellectuals, meaning like people of privilege. Maybe they're saying like, they like to. One of the things in op-eds and like on the news and stuff is to take this like imaginary thing that's where they're covering up the progress that's made with healthcare and what actually should come next. And they're saying like, how does the younger generation, what would the who really had hope for Obama, what's going on with the younger generation, the baby boom parents are interested, they read it. What it doesn't it doesn't what from where is that coming? Like we mentioned the show, there's a show on HBO, but it's the fact that it's part of how people perceive what politically, like what kind of times are the young people living in, what problems are the young people dealing with, and like those things. Right, they're saying like, as a result of like this fake narrative we're spinning about the hope for healthcare, Obama, and what's taking place. So this is what the younger generation will be about. It will be a disillusioned generation. Like this is like what people do are called intellectuals. Like someone sent them to liberal university, and they're like now they're writing op-eds. The best examples is there was an article about like to go to entertainment too. Like people in the baby boom probably watching HBO. Like there's a show called Girls. Apparently it's like a well-written show by like a highly intelligent woman wrote this show called Girls, but all the press on it and all the magazines is like, yeah, this woman who wrote the show is actually she's very smart. You see, she's the voice of a generation of young women. Little baby boom parents like want to understand their college age daughter. Like they say, it's they're saying that what's on this show. What's on this like sort of well-written HBO show that accurately represents what's going on with young people. Parents say, I see you're from a generation that's like this. I mean, it has all kind. The media system and these narratives that are spinning. Part of the thing is the people who are buying the story that's being told about healthcare like failing and a crisis of confidence. It comes along with like, and therefore this generation that had so much hope for Obama like are seeing that they were too naive. These are the kind of things written about by like David Remnick, the New Yorker, writes about stuff like that. That this is how like people don't live in reality. They're given all kinds of false like impressions of the political system, but also what the economic system and a bunch of other things. A bunch of other things, but there's no way to crack through it. But we won't get to universal health care if people are caught in a loop of like media and politicians like playing just doing like theater like while reality's like not mentioned and those serious people are like talking about what needs to happen. That big change in the procedures of our House of Representatives, you'd want that procedural change come to the Senate too. That's the first acknowledgement that people who who really understand there has to be universal health care and what was taking place is that overall there probably needs to be some kind of like major overhaul of the procedures of the Senate and Congress themselves to not allow that will allow for an actual other societies. Other societies of China even made a comment about they see how well liberal democracy is working out. Like, well, we always call them like communist, and they manipulate the currency and this and that, and it's one party over there or something. No. They China, the Chinese commentator or something, someone in the government, we see how well the American, we know it well with its three branches and its claims of liberal democracy and checks and balances. Like, right, we see how badly that works. Like, I mean, people are looking at the system designed by the founders, right? But that was over many hundred and more than that years ago. Like, right, I mean, the procedures make it so even if you watch C-SPAN, you see each senator makes a speech to change anything in a law that would fix a problem, requires a bunch of things that are procedural that make it never happen. But the print media is happy to follow that, and inside baseball about a non-functional democratic structure that's not functioning properly, but they tell you bit by bit how things get defeated and what the different senators are doing to block it. And I mean that's terrible that's happening to the people's perceptions of political things. Is the point here? This will be all for tonight. I want to stay up and watch that load. Make sure I thought you guys gave me a green light on that.